Why don't we start? You can now turn on your mics. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to welcome everybody to our meeting for April 8th and note the presence of a quorum. Let's see, we have our friends in Albany and others here. Perhaps we can just go around the room, starting with the individuals in Albany introducing themselves, and we'll go here just so everybody knows who's in the room.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Jeffrey Beal, also Division of Budget.
Okay, thank you very much. Gwen, why don't you start by introducing yourself?
Gwen Perlman, Director of Capital Budget for CUNY.
Bob Lemieux, Executive Director of Design and Construction, CUNY.
Marcella Maxwell, trustee.
Mike Walsh, trustee.
Brian Oberfeld, trustee.
Mike Stabulus, Director of Construction for DASNY.
Oh, sorry. Nancy Nichols, Special Assistant to the Fund.
Jeffrey Weinstein, Director of Procurement Services for CUNY.
John Antonelli, Deputy Executive Director of the Fund.
Judy Bertram, Executive Director of CUCF.
Philip Berry, Acting Chair of the Fund.
Rick Schaefer, counsel.
Gustavo Ordonez, staff to the fund.
And I'm Dan Rothbaum, Controller for the Fund.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. Sometimes going through roll call like that is like a musical orchestra, and what we're doing is just tuning up for the rest of the conversation that will follow, and also just to get people in sync with the rest of the agenda. We do have about four action items in front of us. The first would be the approval of the minutes, and if everybody has read the November 19th minutes, if you have any questions, I'd like to entertain that right now.
So moved.
Okay.
Pass.
Hearing none, we ask for, Dr. Maxwell has moved the agenda, and if we could have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed, abstentions? Thank you very much. The first item that we have is an important one. All of the items are important, but certainly it has to do with a resolution for the corrective action, purchase and corrective action for the fire alarm system for the science building. And I know that a lot of this is in order for us to ensure that we are up to code, New York code. What I'd like to do is let me read the resolution, and then we'll have any discussion on it. Resolve that the Board of Trustees of the Construction Fund authorize the Executive Director to execute a purchase order for the services to design, purchase, and install corrective fire alarm system work in the Science Building at York College under an existing New York State Office of General Services contract with Johnson Controls Industries. And the total cost of all purchases shall be chargeable to the State Construction Fund and on an amount not to exceed $250,000. So if I can just have any discussion on that, if you can, any discussion that you have to.
I mean, I just think for all these resolutions, they're not for, considering we come here and talk about billions and millions and whatever, they're not that much money, but this is what it's all about. This is like when we talk about critical maintenance, all of these three resolutions are the bread and butter, basically, of what we do. And, you know, I don't want anyone to worry. Our fire alarm systems are up to state code, and now we're trying to make them all meet the city code. So we're doing this a little bit at a time, and this is at York. So it's pretty. The description kind of gives you what this is for. If you have any other questions, I have my expert Bob here. If you want any other specifics on it.
Bob, I remembered that there was in terms of fire alarm systems, and then what we're doing is we're reviewing fire alarm systems throughout the CUNY.
All of our campuses, we're looking at their systems and their buildings. Our buildings date back, you know, some of them are 100 years old, some of them, half of them more than 50 years old. And prior to 1998, when DASNY would basically construct buildings for us or do renovations, they did it according to the state code. About 12 years ago, CUNY agreed to basically follow the city code. So as the city has upgraded their code, some of our buildings don't quite meet the new code. so we have to do upgrades. And that's what we're doing now. We're working out a program with the city, the fire department, the building department, to allow us to kind of move forward on this whole process. So we have over 300 buildings, so there are a lot of buildings out there, and there's a lot of fire alarm work that's going to be coming to this board on a regular basis. So.
And the assumption is that the city codes are more stringent
They're more
than
stringent,
the
and
state? Is
they get
that-
they get more updated. And whenever you do work in a building, you have to bring it up to the current code or upgrade it. So that's what happens.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask, did you say 1920?
No,
Oh,
no,
you
not,
didn't.
around,
I
it was
misheard.
around 19, it was when, Woody Ronaldo.
Before the Depression.
Yeah, no, it was around, it was when I went to Columbia, so it was around 1997 that that all happened.
Okay, thank you very much. So if there's any other questions on this? If not, can I have a second? I move it, and is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstentions? Thank you very much. The next item that I want to bring to your attention has to do with the design and services for replacement of air handling units and control at Hunter College at the North Building. And this apparently is going to replace two other unit landings that we have there on the 11th floor. Is that the,
Yes.
is that what we're
Yes.
looking at there? Anything else that we need to know about that in terms of, are there other systems that we have to put in place there after this one, or is this going to suffice?
Once we do the design, there'll be a purchase and installation contract that will have to come to this board. But we have to get it designed first, then we'll purchase it and do a purchase and installation contract to get it installed.
Okay, thank you.
We're also doing the roof on the same building
Yeah.
at the same time. So if you think about Hunter, you know, Hunter's not a sprawling campus. Hunter is an urban campus, so there are all these things going on in this one building, which does put a little bit of pressure and strain on the operation.
Okay, that's good. All right, so I'll read the resolution then, that the Board of Trustees authorize the Executive Director to execute a contract with the firm of Train US, Inc. to provide design services to replace two 50-ton air handling systems, including a new control system which will be located on the 11th floor of Hunter College, and that this will be chargeable to the State Capital Construction Fund for an amount not to exceed $120,000. And so is there I'd like to ask for a motion to move this.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? Thank you very much. Now, the next item has to do with authorizing a contract to purchase equipment and provide installation for a chiller system. And so now, this is a different, is this the same building
No,
or?
different campus.
It's a different campus,
This is
right?
the Hunter High School
Oh,
on
94.
94th Street between Lexington and Park. It's actually on the Lexington Avenue, on the Park Avenue side, it's between Park and Madison. And this is on the Park Avenue side.
So the reason why this looks similar is because we did a design for this,
This is going to be a straight design and install of equipment, an air handler.
okay.
And the thing about this is, this one is really, that's why you're actually sitting here today. This one is critical. We need this,
For
so
the
they're gonna
summer.
have air conditioning in the summer.
Oh, my
So
God.
that's why you're sitting here today. This is really important.
Right.
Right, kids
Okay.
are there in the summer.
Well, we don't want to delay that. How long will it take them, how long will it take them to install this?
Probably about 2 months. If we do it now, we'll have it all set up by June,
Oh,
so
June,
it'll be
okay.
set.
We hope.
Thank you.
Well,
We need this.
Yes,
the plan.
no,
Okay.
without a doubt. All right, any questions on this one? So if not, I'll read the resolution so that the Board of Trustees authorize the Executive Director to execute a contract with the firm of Train US, Inc. to provide design and installation services to replace one 75-ton air-cooled chiller and related work at the college, Hunter College Campus School. And this will be in an amount chargeable to the State Construction Fund not to exceed $400,000. And what I'd like to do is to ask for a motion to move this.
So moved. I don't want
Is
to
there
kid to something.
Second?
Second.
Good, thank you very much. All in favor? Opposed, abstentions? Thank you very much. Let me ask a question. Why would we not, since we are expediting this to, so this is going to be design and installation, 75-ton unit, why would we not do design and installation for the other two, like the other motion that we just approved was for design services, for two units at a lesser cost? Why would we not
We don't really-
design,
we don't-
just with the same firm of Train?
Right. But we don't really know the price of that, what that project's gonna really be yet. So rather than come with the wrong number, we'd rather get the design, and then we'll take it to this board, and we'll also take it to the CUNY board, because there's a threshold of $500,000 for a project, and if it's greater than $500,000 and we're doing it, we have to go to both boards. So for the other one, it's less than $500,000, so we just have to go to this board. It does not have to go to the CUNY board as well. So we'd rather wait and get the right number and take it to both boards.
You have an opinion on that?
That's right.
It just seemed that it would be,
It would have been
It makes-
easier. It would have been easier, but process is process, and we just want to get it right.
not to push it, but again, just to ask, because we wanted to make sure that the Hunter College, the campus school, that they had air conditioning. I mean, how long, is there a problem with air conditioning on the 11th floor? I mean, is there another way? I'm just wondering if we're going to have to come back again to this fund to get approval to install, and I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud.
We have to go to both boards for the installation, because it's going to be over $500,000. So,
I think if the end result, the way we thought about this is, how do we get this done the fastest?
Right.
And splitting it was the fastest, because we still have to abide by
that's
what
exactly
the
right.
process is.
So it gets us
you're,
ahead-
you're right, if this was we didn't have to deal with that, but this is probably the fastest way to get it done.
Yeah. Because if, well, of course, we don't have, when is the next CUNY board meeting? Do you know off the top of your head?
Yeah.
May 8 or 9.
The first week in May.
First week in May.
Could I just ask, Bob, while you're thinking about that, just to put this in perspective, I don't know if you know the answer to this, but there's two 50-ton air conditioning units for the 11th floor. Does that just service the 11th floor? Does that serve the top 20 floors, the bottom? What, perspective-wise? I think that's what kind of
I
you,
think it probably serves a couple of floors more than the 11. It's going to basically bring air in and then distribute it.
but it's functioning now,
It's functioning now. It's probably, we always get nervous when it gets to be
certain age.
a certain age and you start getting close to the summer. You want to basically be prepared to just switch
Right.
it out. And that's what this is all about. And they can install these things in about 2 or 3 months. So we will basically get their design. They'll save that month and a half's worth of time. We'll take it to the two boards when we know the price, and we'll immediately give them the contract. Because it's under a state OGS contract, so it's not as if we have to go out and bid it or anything else. We've got the contracts in place.
Because if there's a board meeting in May, and, or we could even have an executive committee meeting or something like that with the CUNY board to move it quickly. I'm just looking at the health and safety
Appreciate
of the
that.
individuals there at the campus, that's all. Okay.
Okay.
So, So the next thing has to do with the resolution for approving the annual report on procurement contracts. And there should be, I believe in this document. Okay. So resolved that pursuant to section 2879 of the New York Public Authorities Law and section H of the CUNY Fund Guidelines for Procurement Contracts as amended through June 10th, 2014, the annual report on procurement contracts of the fund for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2015 is attached to this resolution, and therefore be it, and it is hereby approved and adopted. And I think probably what we have to do, especially for some of the newer trustees, is just to go back a little bit on we want to amend and approve this particular piece.
Okay, Joanne, you want to do that?
Yeah, I mean, this is a requirement, as Phil said, under 2879 of the Public Authorities Law. What it essentially does is it looks at all the existing projects and/or contracts that are currently in place and managed by the fund, and it represents the portion that was actually expended in the year. And this is done annually, and it's fairly consistent, although, you know, I think our projects have gone up over the years, but essentially, it represents all the work that's actually being done and completed in that period of time. And, I mean, essentially, that's it. It doesn't, it's a fairly routine thing. It's unlike other things that are reported quarterly, this is reported once annually.
And if you look at it, the big numbers are large buildings that we're doing, which is New York City Tech, PAC, and the purchase of a floor at Cornell Wild. So
Right.
if you just look down the columns, all the numbers are within the same range except those three.
Right, you'll see, for example, 50 million was spent on the condominium, 46 million for New York Tech, which is a very large project, and about another 12 million was spent for the Performing Arts Center, Brooklyn. So that's a significant piece of 139 million.
Good. Any questions on this particular item? I'd like to have a motion to move it.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed, abstentions? Thank you very much. The next item that we want to go to is the chair report. So there are two items that I want to bring to your attention, which are not listed in the booklet that you have. There were two committees, several meetings ago. We had a request to authorize two committees. One was a governance committee and the other was an audit committee. We asked for volunteers, and so we had interest, but we didn't certify volunteers and also approve it in the meeting in terms of who would be on those committees chairing them. Let me just say something about how those committees would work, which might encourage individuals to volunteer. The work of those committees is not laborious. It's something that we would handle, for example, if we have a regular construction fund meeting, we can actually have the committee meeting right before the construction fund meeting. And it would be to resolve certain items that would come before it. Right now, there are not a lot of items, although there is one, I think there is one piece on the governance still on audit rather, that we have to deal with. Right. There's a piece on audit we have to deal with, and that, we could do that, how could we do that? Because we could do it during the regular CUNY audit. I'm just thinking how we.
When is the next fund meeting? Our
May
board meeting?
5th.
May 5th? So we could do it, either before or after that meeting. But we're required to have these committees, so
I get it.
the chair is being gentle when he speaks of volunteers. If we don't get volunteers, we're going to institute a draft.
I'll be happy, just let me know where.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have two. There's one governance and then one is the audit.
But it will not involve extra meetings. We'll just do it at the same time.
Yeah. Would you, I thought that.
I think I am on the audit, right?
Yeah, I thought that you had volunteered for audit, and I'm not sure, I thought governance, didn't Guillermo mention that he might have an interest in doing that, or was it that we had an interest in voluntelling him?
I think the second part.
I think at our next meeting, we'll vote the membership, and though if you want to volunteer for a particular committee, please do so.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're going to, particularly people who aren't here, they're going to get voted.
Yeah, exactly. So we do have, some interest here. What we'll do is and I think that with Trustee Oberfeld on the audit, would be a good one, and then we'll come back on the governance one. So And on the audit, we could also have another person in addition to myself. It would be good to have 3 members on that. I can also serve on, I mean, I would also serve in those committees, you know, so that way we could expedite the work. And if we can get another volunteer for the audit, in order for us to expedite our work, Trustee Walsh, Trustee Maxwell, do you have an interest in just on the audit?
Rick said if we're not going to be here at the next meeting, which I'm not, I'm going to be put on anyway, so I might as well choose which one I prefer. I'll be happy to help out on the governance.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So it is noted and for the record that we do have a quorum for that, for audit rather, and we'll come back again on governance.
Oh, I thought I volunteered for governance.
He volunteered.
For governance. Okay, for governance.
Being that I'm going to be given a choice as opposed to.
Yes, okay, then we do have 2 members there. And Dr. Maxwell, which committee are you volunteering for?
Whatever.
Okay, good. We'll have first ex officio on both committees.
There you go.
Since we have left it up to the chair to make a decision there, we have accepted the whatever option, and we're approving that. Thank you very much, really. We really do appreciate the service that you give, and one of the things that's important is not to, I mean, I've been serving as acting chair of this committee for, I guess, almost 10 years or so, a little more, and I'm happy to continue as long as I'm allowed to serve. And but what's really good is that this work is just such great work, and really your contributions and your oversight are extremely important and help us with the deliberations that we have to move things forward. And I tell you, there's not a day that goes by that I don't drive through the city, and see the results of our work. So sometimes you don't actually see it on paper, but you definitely see it in the building and the construction, and when you go through our buildings and you feel the air conditioning, for example, you know that you've had something to do with that. When you see fires going on in other places and you realize that we put in a fire alarm system in our place to give us an early warning, and you look at the number of deaths that occur and casualties that occur from fires every single day somewhere, it's good to know that we're on top of it with these actions that seem minimal, but they're a big thing, because if you have a fire, and if you have somebody that is respiring because of poor air conditioning, that can lead to asthmatic conditions, and all of those things are extremely important. So I take joy in the quote-unquote dry work that we seem to do, because of we know what the outcome is, and really are thankful for just. I will say this from the trustees to all of the people who are working here. We really appreciate your deliberations to the detail of making sure that all the pieces are in place. So with that, I will note that we'll have the May meeting. The June meeting is up in the air. We'll come back to you on that. We had noted a meeting with, Nancy, we were looking at June the 7th or whatever. 17th, I think, which we would not be holding our meeting then, but, we'll look for another date. And, but the 5th, unless there's something extraordinary that comes up.
Okay.
Where we don't have a lot of work, then resolutions, then we'll let you know if we're going to cancel that. Why don't we go to your report?
Okay, just to start, if you look at this picture, this is the cover of the budget request, and this is Meg Revers. And this is a renovation of their library, which their library was, a library from 15, 20 years ago. And if you go inside that library now, you can't find a place to sit down. It's used all the time. It's the central gathering area. And now we're working on the lobby, right, Bob? Which is kind of to the left. So this is not a major, this wasn't $300 million. But this made a very, very big impact. And now we're moving over a little bit to basically do the lobby. So this is just an example of what the impact is. And the impact on this school was pretty significant.
It was very significant because for a long time, individuals in the school, students and faculty, they were complaining that they didn't really have that type of central focus. And so it really has transformed the life of academic activity within the school.
What's the do you know, what's the cost of the lobby area next to this that we're doing now?
No, I'm not sure because I think it's connected to another project.
Yeah, it's a couple of million, but it's not a big.
It's not,
This project was about, I think, about 16 million.
No, more like
More
20.
more like 20, okay. And this photograph is basically taken from the center of the quad, looking north into the library. And it's also got a very, and we don't have a photograph of it here now, but on the Bedford Avenue side, it's basically opened the whole library up, and there's a little amphitheater area in front of it that just opens it up to the Bedford. And we were doing the renovation of the entrance area will really bring the whole thing together on the first floor. So it's quite a nice job.
and the entrance area is on the other,
The other
on
side.
the other side. This is
Right.
where the entrance area is on the other side.
Yeah.
So it's gonna make a very big difference. And there's a room there that the community can use.
Yeah.
So for about $20 million, it's gonna make a really big difference.
Good, thank you.
So I could talk about it. Okay, so I'm gonna go through this. I'm gonna try to do it quickly, go through the state budget results, the projects that we've completed in 2015, and just a highlight of what we're basically working on now. The budget came out last Friday, right, guys, in Albany? And I just have to thank Gwen Perlman. I have to do this in public, because this is a very daunting task to basically collect information from all our schools, put it together, priorities, so I just say thank you. If you recall, our capital request was $6.8 billion, and our request is prioritized based per the Board of Trustees' approved goals. So the most important thing is the thing that we talk about all the time is the state of good repair. This is critical maintenance. And the next is complete ongoing partially funded projects like Bronx Community Campus Utilities. We've been at that for how many years?
Since I've been here.
8 or 9.
We've been at that for 8 or 9 years, and I think I talked about this. That is all underground. So what did we do, Mike? We took the quad and we dug up the quad, which was beautiful, and we've been at that for many years. And this spring, that's going to be over, and the school's going to get their quad back. But everyone is like asking me about the quad, but the real important thing is what went on kind of underneath the quad. And the renovation of 17 Lex, which is going to take quite a few years, we should be starting in the next 7 or 8 months. We requested funds for Brooklyn College Roosevelt Science Building and for Hostos, upgrading technology, energy conservation. So this is kind of what our whole request was based on. So now here's the next slide. Here's what we got. We got a total of $297 million. The senior college critical maintenance was $143. Now, the significance of this, last year we got 103, and this year we got an increase of $40 million, which is going to make a very big difference. If you look at the resolutions that you just voted on, if you want the slide, I'll give you. We'll give it to you.
Take notes.
But so last year we got 103, now we got 143, and this is going to make a difference. The community colleges. Now, the way this works is the city gives us funds, our budget in June, and then the state matches it. We usually get around 30-something million, so we have gotten 62 million. So that 62 million is really 120 million, because we used the money that we got from the city for this. So we've got a pot of 143 million. We now have a pot of 120 million. And we got the fourth year grant of 2020, and I think maybe at the next meeting, I'll go through 2020 and explain to the new trustees what 2020 is. So if for 2020, we have last year's grant and this year's grant. So that's another pot of $100 million. So for us, this is a pretty nice budget because we've got 3 large pots of money. And most of this money, probably all of it, will be spent on critical maintenance projects. So this budget is really going to have a very big impact. So that's kind of the budget that we received on last week. Anyone have a question on it?
That's all new money.
It's all new, and the reappropriation is the $2.5 billion. That's what we're working on, that's over many years. But this is, you're gonna sit here and watch how we spend all this money down. I'll come and bring you pictures. Okay. So this is, just to give you a flavor, what we completed. This is the ASRC and the CUNY Center for Discovery and Innovation. And what that is that's the building for City College. And this is probably, at the moment, the most high-tech science buildings in New York City. When Mike speaks, he's going to talk about the rest of City College. This is a 206,000 square foot research facility. That's the one on the left, and that's the CUNY. And on the right, on my right, is the building that is for City College. And the City College building is 190,000 square feet. And the total cost of this project was $704 million. So this is really impressive. Okay, this.
Can I jump in there for a second? Because if you haven't seen these buildings, it's really worth a visit. These 2 science buildings and the new library at Bronx Community College are not only the 3 most beautiful buildings that I think we've ever built. I think they're the 3 most beautiful buildings built in New York City in the last 20 years. They are just stunning, stunning buildings.
You know what, I agree with you. And the library at Bronx is just magnificent. So if anybody wants a tour, you just tell me and we'll take you to take a look.
You go up there early in the morning and the kids are lined up outside waiting for the doors to open. And when it first opened, I went up there and one of the kids said, "I can't believe they built this for me. I mean, it is so beautiful." It really, you talk about the impact of a physical environment as a symbol. And for these kids at Bronx Community College, the symbol of that library, that somebody thought that they were worth building this building for, it really resonates. It's extraordinary.
Do we happen to have any video of the building
I don't.
that the trustees could see?
Let's check. It's possible Jillian made one.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, let's Jillian Small is our vice chancellor for research, and this was sort of her pet project, so
And I'm
she may
thinking
have something.
there also may be a booklet just on these 2 buildings. So we'll take a look and we'll try and bring this. It's really something to see.
Yeah, it would be good.
It's breathtaking.
Give it just a little more dimension. If there was some video. I mean, I'm surprised, I would be surprised if we didn't have video somewhere, and if we don't, we should, because it's a very good visual way of really demonstrating. It could have a lot of uses to it, a lot of legs to it, so you can.
Sure.
And ask whoever that it's something that the trustees are interested in, and then I'm also interested in.
Okay.
As vice chair of CUNY board.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, I'm glad you did, thank you.
So these are great stories. This to me is really something special. This is the new graduate school for film and cinema for Brooklyn, which opened in September. The school has 70,000 square feet in Steiner Studios. This is Steiner Studio shot the Wolf of Wall Street. It's the first film school in the United States located on a working lot. It has a sound stage, production classroom, screening rooms, labs. It's really something to see. And the interesting part, it cost $30 million, and the funds came from every source possible. Came from the city council, the borough president, the mayor, the state, the college's own money, and Steiner Studios paid for some. And this is really something to see also. I mean, you know, I think your request about a video for this school would be very appropriate, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So this is really something to see. So this one just opened. Okay, the ones that are in construction, this is the new academic complex at City Tech. It's gonna be at 350,000 square feet. And it's mixed use. It's got classrooms, computer lab, science, an auditorium. And Bob, when's this gonna be done?
It's going to open probably January semester of 2018. We were trying to make it ready for the fall, but it was just too close.
Too much,
So it'll probably be complete with a TCO, probably September or October. Then the college will do the move-in prep and everything, getting it ready. So right after Christmas, it should open for the spring semester.
See, for us, having a building ready in the middle of a semester is not helpful. This will probably be ready before the date you just said, but they basically can't move in. So our goals are, you know, either August or December, or you have to wait for the next term. This is really interesting. We're constructing, this is Queensboro. We're constructing a new cafeteria facility by roofing over the courtyard of their science building and creating a light-filled open space for the college's use. And DASNY's doing this for us, right?
Yes.
We expect to be finished with this $12 million contract this summer. The second phase of this project, we're starting design, and it'll provide a new kitchen and an area to serve. This is a real creative use of space at Queensboro. Mike, you have anything to add?
No, I think it'll be used a lot. It really is a very, very nice place to be. I mean, I think the kids are gonna love it.
And, you know, it's $12 million, and $12 million in our world, you know, and the numbers I'm throwing, it's not that much, and it's gonna have a tremendous impact. So, you know, we have over 400 projects going, and they each basically have an impact. Because I don't always like to talk about the things that cost, the big ones. This is the Brooklyn College Tao Performing Arts Center. This facility is going to have theater, performance space, teaching studios, and the project costs somewhere around $100 million, and anticipated completion
It
is,
should be ready to go about January of 17.
so we're almost there with this also.
There was a slight delay in that, right?
There have been
Yeah.
many delays. We've had many difficulties with the contractors, which seem to be kind of okay. Both contractors have had almost been defaulted, and basically we're working it through with them. One of the problems is that this is a performing arts center, so we have to give the college kind of a definite, real opening date, because they have to book the theaters almost a year in advance. So they need a lot of good lead time, and if we give them a date, we've got to deliver on that date. So it's pushing the contractor and trying to make the whole thing come together. This has not been a wonderful marriage between the contractors and the architects.
For a construction project, I would basically say everything that could go wrong, this is the project.
Including a lawsuit, which we recently won.
Yes.
Oh, good.
Okay, Gwen, the next one? Oh.
Yes.
This is at LaGuardia Community College. This is the Center 3 facade replacement. This is
Could I just go back for a second?
Sure.
Some of you may recall that you were named as
Right.
defendants in that lawsuit.
lawsuit.
So let me say once again, let me say once again, we recently won it. It was dismissed.
You're right.
That wasn't lost on me.
Okay.
Okay, so this is to do the facade of LaGuardia building. And this building is 880,000 square feet. It's like the size of Macy's. So this is a really, really big project, a tremendous amount of money, and we're only doing the outside. But this, you got to do the outside before you do the inside, right, Mike?
Right. But there's been a lot of work inside this building, too. We're doing a library renovation project right now that's nearing completion, and besides that, we've done like another 4 areas in that building, interior renovations.
Now,
So,
the
a
floor
lot of work's
plates,
been done in that building.
the floor plates on this building, the size of the floors are 80,000 square feet. Now, when Judy talked about the Steiner Studios, that whole project was 70,000 square feet for a school. So each floor in this building is bigger than Steiner Studios. So, I mean, this is just the size of, I mean, think about how big, 80,000 square feet is the size of a building many times,
Yeah.
and that's on a floor.
And we have to renovate each floor. So the amount of money that we would need to renovate, so we're doing it piece by piece. And eventually we'll get there, and LaGuardia will have, you could put an entire school in this building.
So just, the building was built 100 years ago, and all the terracotta facade is now being replaced, and it's being replaced in terracotta. So, and that's, it'll waterproof in the building, and the windows are being done, the terracotta's being done, we'll do the roof, we've done the roof. So the old exterior will be done, and we'll just work our way around the interior.
The other thing that's being done, if you look and you see where it says IDCNY? You can see that from the
Queensboro Bridge.
Queensboro Bridge, you can see that from the
7
Long
train.
Island Expressway.
7, and that you can see it from the tunnel, and that will say LaGuardia and CUNY. So that will have an unbelievable impact. Okay, I mentioned this. This is 17 Lex. This is a 284,000 square foot building. It was built in 1928. It's got 16 stories. The cost for Phase 1A is $100 million. And this whole building will cost somewhere probably 250, 300 million. So this is just kind of a start. We're going to renovate the lobby, bring electrical services to the building, fill in the courtyard. So this is kind of just the beginning. This is almost like Bronx community. You know, we started 8 or 9 years ago. This building's going to take the same thing. But we didn't take away a quad and some beautiful trees.
No, there were no beautiful trees here. But this building was built in 1928, and it replaced the first building that was City University of New York, built in 1847 on this exact location. It was the first location for a City University college, New York. It was the original site of the New York City City College of New York.
And it was originally built as a courthouse, right?
No, the courthouse is 1 block south on 22nd Street.
Okay.
That's an administrative building there. The old
Administrative
courthouse.
That looks like a
Yeah,
courthouse.
right.
So that's, if there's any questions, I just wanted to give you a brief overview of what's happening here.
No, excellent presentation, because I think it gives life to the decisions that we make, and we can kind of see the results of it. Well, one of the things that comes to mind, and not asking that you do this, but that it would be interesting to see an impact analysis, you know, from a standpoint of when we're doing construction somewhere, what's the impact on the community? For example, with the City Tech piece that's going up, there are a number of other projects that are contemplated in that area. I mean, almost everywhere we go, when we put up the Mega Evers buildings that we put in place, you know, there's an impact there from the standpoint of other buildings and other plans that are put in place. And, you know, it might be interesting to contemplate that, not only for us, but also it could have other uses, you know, with legislators who really need to understand what we're doing and what these decisions that we're making, you know, the result of them, so.
You mean the buildings other than CUNY buildings?
Yeah, buildings, employment, you know, there's a residual effect,
You know, that,
of what we do.
that's an interesting, can you bring back, what, first page?
Yes.
That's interesting, because right around the area where Medgar Evers is, basically actually almost touching one of Medgar Evers' other building on Carroll Street, they're putting up something like a 30-story apartment building. And the impact on that library and the impact on the building, this building, I would say is going to be pretty significant. So that's a good, we'll think about that.
Yeah, I mean, like trustee Wall, I mean, real estate, that when, something goes up in an area, it has an impact. I mean, there's stories that if you have a Trader Joe's or something, when it comes into the area, or a Starbucks, that, that means something in terms of property values and all of that. And that means that people will invest. And, and I think we're even turning around neighborhoods and communities because of what we're doing. It's because we're putting confidence in it. It's public confidence, which evokes other confidence. And it would be interesting to just see that at some point, don't you?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to give,
It's not really a report, but I've handed out a memo that we distributed back in 2011. In 2009, the state legislature passed and the governor signed the Public Authorities Reform Act, and it requires trustees and directors of public authorities and public benefit corporations to acknowledge their fiduciary duties and responsibilities. The state developed a form which we use for this purpose. I realize that what I passed out today is not complete, and therefore I can't ask you to sign it, since it begins by saying, I have read and understood the mission of the fund, but the mission isn't attached. It was back in 2011, because it was on our agenda that same meeting to adopt the mission statement. So what I will do is, you can take these with you, but I will email you these forms again, along with the mission statement, so you have a complete package. Since I've got attorneys on as trustees of this, I want to be very careful not to ask you to sign an incomplete document. So I'll resend these to you with the mission statement, and you can either sign them and send them back, and you can scan them. I don't need originals. If you scan them to me, that's fine. Otherwise, we'll have them on the table at the next board meeting as well, for those who forgot to send them back.
is it, given the, I don't know what the criticality is in terms of timing, but if you FedExed it to our locations, and then it also had a return envelope, we could sign it. And put it, and then you would get back originals.
I don't really need originals.
Okay.
It's, as long as I have a copy. So I'll do it by email, and you can scan it and send it back. We're obviously a little bit behind on this because, we did it when the law passed, and then, of course, new trustees come on, and you forget. So we'll get this done, make sure everybody has signed these, and we'll be up to date.
Okay, thank you. Mike, you want to give a report from the Dome?
Sure.
Thank you.
I was going to talk a little bit about what we're doing at City College now. We actually are still doing work in the ASRC complex. Some of the original design had space that was unprogrammed space, and obviously they found very good uses for those. So we're building out some of the space that was originally not programmed. And in addition, at City College, we have about 23 projects that are active at this point, worth about $157 million. Most of it, the large lion's share of that money is in infrastructure improvements and rehabilitation. We have a bunch of building envelope projects that include new curtain walls for Aaron Davis, new roofs on about 5 buildings. One very significant one is the final phase of the restoration of Shepherd Hall, which has taken 20 years. And mostly because the money. It's a very expensive thing. It's all terracotta building, being replaced with TSR units. And so as the money became available, we would do a different part of the building. So now we're at the final phase of the exterior restoration of that building. And we're also doing a roof replacement also on that building, the slate roofs. Other projects deal with interior renovation projects. So there's 6 buildings where there's interior renovations being done right now. A lot of them being done in the original neo-Gothic type buildings. So the reuse of some of that space, and it's really reclaiming, in some instances, space that wasn't being used for classrooms and now are being used for classrooms. So I think that'll be a definite benefit. The other kinds of projects we're doing an IT upgrade, infrastructure upgrade in a couple of buildings. There's Marshack and also in the engineering building, Steinman. And a very large project and difficult project is to replace all the HVAC and fume hood systems in the Marshack building. It's a multi-year, tens of millions of dollars involved in doing that project while the building is occupied. So we're in phase one of that. It's about a $25 million endeavor, and so far, it's been going okay, and we're getting very good cooperation from college, which is very necessary in that kind of a project. And I think that's about it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Appreciate it. If there is one of the things that I'm going to pursue, and I'll talk with council about this, is whether if we really have to expedite something and get something done in June, and whether I can do this remotely. I did this with executive board meeting, and I have a location to do that in. So
You can.
You're right. So that could be, that's another option. We would definitely need to use this room because this is where I've done it before, so we'll take a look at that as an option. Any other business, questions, comments at all? Okay. Hearing none, can we get a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Well, good. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, everybody.